Hey y'all, it's Katrina Davis. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope that everybody is having a great summer. I know that I am. I feel like this summer is just reminiscent of like past summers, maybe like a little sprinkle of childhood summers with a little college summers, and it's just been really a good time for me. Like, I feel like I'm just relaxing, having fun, being carefree, and I love that for me. I hope that you have something special planned. Doesn't have to be anything serious, but just going to the pool with your girls, having a picnic in the park, whatever it be. I hope that you are having just an amazing few months. Like, I feel like we don't get time to just sit in the sun and relax as much as we probably should. So do you boo boo. I am gonna be talking today about how we save for travel, and when I say we, I mean me and my husband. If you watch my previous video, you know that me and my husband share finances, so we approach everything with a we mindset, and that's how we accomplish a lot of our goals, including our goal to travel. We really love traveling. We both knew that going into the relationship and going into the marriage that traveling was going to be top priority, so we made sure that we set up our finances in a way that we could achieve that on a regular basis. Our first trip together was San Francisco and Napa Valley. I think that was 2018. We actually went for my birthday, so that was our first time going on a trip together, and obviously it was pretty successful since we ended up getting married and now live a life together. After that, we chilled for a bit because we had to plan for a wedding, and then COVID happened. COVID happened in 2020. It squashed a lot of our plans, including our honeymoon that we were supposed to take to Greece and Paris. So we did not take that trip in 2020. Instead, in 2020, we did a local Georgia trip. In 2021, we came back on the scene a little bit, and we went to Cabo, Mexico for the first time, and we went a couple other places. Where else did we go that year? I always have to look back at my pictures to see where we went. Where did we go? I feel like everybody and their mama was on the trip in 2021. When we finally got outside, everybody was out. Ooh. So yes, we went to Cabo that year, and we went to Scottsdale, Arizona that year. Can you see this? No, you can't. Okay. We went to Scottsdale, Arizona. That was a really fun trip. And let's see. I think that's the only place we went together that year. I went to Miami with some friends. Yeah, so that's where we went in 2021. In 2022, we went to Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket up in the Cape Cod area, which was really dope. And then this year so far, we have been to Paris, and we're planning on going somewhere else for our anniversary, and take some guesses on where that is. So we love to travel. We have a whole bucket list of places that we want to go. And I mean, the bucket list might as well be the whole world, because we really want to see everything. So we are so super intentional about planning our money to accomplish our goals. So we have a line item in our budget for travel, and we save on a regular basis. And I'm going to tell you how we do that. So let's get started. 1, we start off with a joint savings account just for travel. Now, this is an online bank. There are a few different ones out there. I'll leave a few down here. The one we use can be shared between both of us. We can both see what's going in the account, what's being taken out of the account. So we set up that joint account. We've had it for years, so that we can just stash money in there and get it ready for travel. The second part is to make sure you know where you want to go. This year, for example, we knew that we really wanted to go to Paris, and we wanted to go to another place. So I started researching those places to see how much it might be to travel to those places. So that means researching how much the flights are going to be, how much the hotels are going to be, estimate transportation, food costs, and all of that jazz, so that you can get a pretty good number about how much your trip is going to cost. After you have determined how much the trip costs, then that's when you're going to kind of reverse engineer and figure out how you're going to save up for the trip. Let's say the trip is in 12 months and it's $10,000. That is about $833 each month that you need to save in order to have that money ready by trip time. So you maybe can possibly fit in $833 within your monthly budget, or you might have to fit in $400 one month, $1,200 another month, depending on how your finances flow. So you should determine what that will be before really committing to the trip. If you see that you're not going to be able to fit that in within 12 months, then it's probably time to choose another trip or choose another cost-effective way to travel to that same place. Once you have that amount determined, you can go ahead and set up like direct deposit or an auto transfer from your checking account to the savings account so that you can put that on autopilot. You don't want to be thinking about saving $833 a month. That should be automatic, otherwise it might not get done. So that is one of the key things to like us actually making our like trips happen, is that most things are on auto debit. So that means it's coming out automatically, it's being saved, and when it's time to pay for flights, to pay for hotels, that money is ready to go. Now you're probably wondering, well, how do I pay for flights and stuff like that before the trip? So how we typically set it up is, once we have that monthly amount of money and it's in our budget, I kind of estimate how long it would take us to get to be able to buy the flights. So let's say in 2 months I can buy the flights. I will go ahead and probably buy the flight on my credit card, and then as soon as that next amount of money comes in for my paycheck, I go ahead and pay the card off. So that way I can go ahead and buy the tickets for us to travel, but it still be paid for in cash. So that's how I typically buy our plane ticket. I try to book hotels that I can pay on the day of the trip. Same goes for any other things that we do, but sometimes you can't, so you might have to pay a deposit. In the case that you have to pay a deposit, I do it in that same way. Kind of wait until I get close to the time that I'll have the money and then charge it on my credit card and then go ahead and immediately pay it off. I do like using a combination of credit card and cash to kind of manage our travels, because it does allow us to get rewards and points, but also not be charging everything to the credit card. So that's why I try to strategically pay off the card when the money is available. Doing this method has gotten us a lot of rewards points back that we've been able to use on future hotels, flights, etc. But I must warn you that credit cards are a slippery slope, and if you don't have a good handle on those, what could happen is, if you put thousands of dollars on your credit card and you go and spend the cash, like, you'll end up in a rut that you really don't want to be in, where you're paying crazy interest rates and the miles or the points that you've gotten aren't even worth it at that point. So the next thing that we consider when we are saving and planning for travel is just maximizing our spending. So I'm all about making my money work for me in many different ways. So on top of getting points and miles back on the purchases, I also like to go through websites that give me cash back. So that might mean Rakuten or Dash, or even going through my credit card company's travel site to get a few extra points. I subscribe to the notion of every dollar must give me something back. So I am typically looking for that whenever I'm saving and planning for travel. And a lot of those sites, you can use them without a credit card. So that way, if you don't want to use a credit card, you can still reap the benefits of those types of programs. Now, while you are saving for your trip, it's also important to keep saving in your emergency savings account, or keep saving in other goals that you have, so that those can keep flowing as you want them to. You don't want to get into a situation where you need to use your trip money for an emergency expense. So you want to keep both flowing at the same time. So that might mean reducing some of the trip contributions or reducing the cost of your trip to make sure that both can happen at the same time. And then if you've hit like your savings account goal, then you could dial back on that and then increase the travel savings so that you have enough money to take the type of trip that you want. And then lastly, once you have identified how much your trip costs, determine how much you need to save in order to get there, and you've maximized all of your spending about the trip, go on your trip and enjoy your trip. Make sure you have your money set aside and stick to your budget and just enjoy the fruits of your labor. It really works for us. I find that it's really a helpful method to actually be able to save up the money that you need for a trip, opposed to committing to the trip and then finding out that the expenses for the trip won't fit into your budget. And I think that's how we end up with so many excess credit card charges, is because instead of planning for the trip proactively, some of us are swiping for the trip and then paying it back later. We've used this method to save up for our wedding, save up for home decor expenses, and really do anything that takes a large chunk of money to make happen. This is also a great way to work together as a team to make sure that you achieve your goal of like hitting the markers you need to hit to make sure you can go on your trip. Tell me if you do something like this for your personal travel or travel with your partner and how it works. Or let me know if you have another method for planning your trips and saving up for them. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave me a comment below to let me know how you're saving up for your next trip. And better yet, let me know where you're going, because I might show up too.